this is the second part of hacking. If you own a Cisco device, this is the question, what I do with this device. And I can show you in this talk that you can do everything. Short introduction, my name is Christoph. I work for an internet provider. First, disclaimer, this is my private work. There's no relation to my company I work currently for. I must say this for some reasons. Another warning information, if you do this in your own network, it may crash your network, it may crash your router. It's sometimes against the local law, and I'm not responsible for what you are doing. And for copyright information, this is a trademark, and I don't work for this company. What I show you, the forgotten network devices, then attacking samples some IDs of me. Tunnels, IPv6, yes, it's coming. Attacking management, the environment, that means we go the other way from the device. Demos, conclusion on my next steps. If you are under attack, if you receive patterns or attacks from worms, all this stuff, normally you think that must be other computers. Some Linux, Windows boxes around the world. I have already seen that this is not true. There are other devices that you are attacking you. And these are a lot of layer 2 and 3 devices. The reason is there are apps 24 hours a day. They are connected with large bandwidth. And yeah, they have fixed IPs, all these benefits that you need for attacking other people to refine your own device. I will show you only Cisco devices, but there are other devices that you can do the same stuff. Cisco is because I work daily with these devices and have a lot of equipment at home and in the company for testing and find out some things. But first, what we need to do to create a bot client or an attacking device, we need space to store some information. We need the capability to interact with the system, to create event-based, or yeah, we have to manage this device. If we have I think, on the web interface, there is no scheduler running on it, that's not good. But iOS has many features inside that you can create all the stuff. For me, it's important that you can make some automatism in the device. If some event is happening, some also things are going on. First, in 2003, they are starting including TCL scripting in those devices. The reason was that network device administrator can create some script to stand up, is everything going well in the router, generate some reports, or yeah, all this administration stuff. They're starting with it very basically, but there's coming more and more integrations from other stuff, from TCL and connection possibility. Then we need storage space. Most routers sometimes have disk inside or flash RAM, all this kind of stuff, but there's not a lot of data inside this, or not a lot of space inside these devices. There's a limited space, and you know maybe that's, if you buy memory for a Cisco router, it's very expensive. But there are possibly ways to import stuffs over the net directly from other services into the router memory. But I will show you later how I found a system that is already implemented this. And the controlling, we have the command line. Very useful. If you are admin on the router, you can do everything. We have a cron, that's like zero in Unix environment. You can schedule tasks daily based or one time. We have an embedded event manager. It means if something happens if you have a large CPU usage, that it can execute a script. Or some event is happening in a log file, I can do create or start a script or do something on the router. For a source manager, all this stuff is coming up and have more and more functionality in each version. When I start to misuse a Cisco device, I say, okay, I have a lot of built-in commands. Then I found Cisco, okay, yes, there are ways to create packets. And in the newest iOS, that is out, I think, 3 or 4 months, I can create also UDP packet. And yeah, for attacking other devices, it's very useful. But in the built-in commands, there are some features that you can also misuse. We start with a simple ping command. Normally, if you execute on the router ping, it makes 5 pings, echo requests to the device. Time is, I think, 1 second between each ping. 5 pings is the default. But there are some options. And the importance option is the size. I can make large ICMP requests. I can say the source. Oh, maybe I can spoof the source IP address. Repeat, that has how often I do this. And the timeout, that's the time how long he waits for an answer. And if you make the right combination of this, you see, I can ping a target, repeat 10,000 times, small size, time at 0. That means he sends only the out packet and never wait for the answer. And yeah, this is very fast, but you have a large output on the screen. If I put this in a TCL script, then it generates no output. And it makes very, very fast. I have tested it on some older routers, and it comes up to 20,000 packets per second for only one router to one target. Then, a spoofed source IP address, if it's required. There are other features. IP SLA. This is a very useful implementation that I can monitor if other device, other service is available. I use a sample that controls a TCP connection to port 99. Every frequency, every second, timeout is 1 second. We create it. We will start this, try to make a connection, and if it become an answer, it's okay. Become a select, it's okay for him. And you can create a statistic, how often it's failed or missed. I can also create UDP packet with the same options. And here it's also very useful, you can use spoofed source addresses. And the address must not exist on the device. I can create HTTP sessions. That means I can watch if a site is available or not. I can create multicast packets also. Sometimes in some environments very useful. But one session is, each second one session, the test is not enough for me. Then I create some smaller scripts that creates, with one command I executed thousands or 5,000 IP SLA requests. To start this, it needs a little bit CPU power, and after this, you have 5,000 monitoring jobs running during the same time. This is the small script that creates this small loop, it is 1,000 small loop that creates the entry in the running configuration. And also I need a script to delete the configuration on the router if I will stop the thing. But I've also found there are limitations. I need more. Every day I need more packets coming out of the devices, or more specific packets. I found there are some limitations in how often I can request some sites or do some tests. This depends on the iOS that you are running on the current router. And there are not on every version the same limits. And I also found if you have too many entries in the configuration, the router crashes. I create 10,000 entries for monitoring one device, and the devices say, okay, my configuration is too big. Then I have tried to compress the configuration. There are some ways to make the configuration smaller, but yeah, it doesn't fit for me. I found out then, okay, I need to create special packets. With, here you can see I can create a raw connection, and here I have the possibility to create, with hex strings, I can create every character that I like. Not really every, the null I cannot create. But for some exploits it's necessary, or for some emulating some viruses it's necessary to create a binary 0. Then I say, okay, DDoSing is one thing, but I need a scanner on the router. When I start with this, there is only one way in TCL to create connections with TCP. I create a small script. This is the first version. It only scans. You try to open a port, very small. They give me an answer, say, okay, this port is open or not closed. I can include this in the command lines. That is more comfortable to use. And finally, I have the command scan IP to target address. Or in newer versions, I can say, scan me all these ports listed in the options. Here is a small output of the scans, and it runs directly on the router. For me, it's sometimes very useful if you are on the device, you will see, can I scan this device? Or is this host connected in this VLAN or VRF? Is this available, or are there really ports open? But there are some problems. Slow if the target host doesn't exist because it tries to open the connection, wait for the timeout. But this is currently fixed in the newer version of my script. They have some mechanism if the port not is open, it has a faster timeout. And also the problem is it's only available in newer iOS. But then say, okay, I can open TCP ports, I can send packets. Let's try some exploits. I take the Metasploit code. You can see here. This is the Metasploit code, and I write a short script that generates the same port code and then writes it to the target, and all this stuff works. I have, it's very funny to can port all this existing exploit directly to the router. All this stuff is running on the router. Then I say, okay, I can open ports, all this stuff. Let's do some funny things. I create a script that writes Twitter entries. This was the first start with this was before 2.5 years. I think 6 months after that, after I released the script, Cisco has an official script presented on the homepage that say, okay, with this script you can write Twitter entries. Then you see here is my Cisco router is twittering some important information through the net. And currently I have I think more than 20 followers. I don't know why they follow my router output, but they do this. You can see here also I've integrated some, if a line goes up or down, it's twittering. Maybe it's useful. Here, a short code snippet, but the complete code for twittering is this online. Then I make some scripts, event-based rules that have more information, but how my router feels it. If it has high CPU load, you say Twitter to the internet, oh, I need maybe more power or more to do, up and down from interfaces, internal temperature, But I have to create more and more scripts and feedback to Twitter. And sometimes I found out Twitter has some limits. How many information you can tweet per day or hour. Here is a sample of the code. that I use for monitoring the CPU. It's simple. I say, I will read this SNMP information on the router. Then I generate a syslog, also for my information, and I can directly execute the SQL script that writes the information on the internet. And with all this stuff, you can create very funny things, and for fun. But also, you can use Twitter backwards. That if you Twitter some information, that the router goes and read this information and do this. If you write on Twitter interface, fast internet interface 02 down or up, the router goes priority to read this information and say, okay, yes, interface down, interface 2 I must take down, I do this. Maybe it's not very useful if you do this in clear text, because some other people can write on your Twitter lines. Yeah. Then you can code these messages, sun goes down on some time. Then you have to find out what this means. I'm currently writing this code. It's a little bit buggy, but it works. Then my dream is happening. UDP is coming. New iOS version. No information on the main page. Only small information found it. Now we can UDP breaking creation. That's waiting for a long time for me, because I want to try SQL Slammer on my router. I read the information, 1 hour later, my first SQL Slammer package is going out from the router. And now I can create SNMP requests, I can create NTP requests in this regular form that I will create or go out to internet. And I know that there are thousands of Cisco devices out there that has SNMP open, or that you can read or write the community with default communities. And I'm currently writing a SNMP scanner that scans the whole internet for the communities that I can, other Cisco devices. And maybe there's a way that I can send out some packets that you send back the information or the configuration. And then I think that's the first step for me to write a script that he deploys on other routers. Because with UDP there are many UDP bugs in the iOS, and I think for me it's just the starting for, or in my test environment, of course, to test this out if it works or not. The problem is that UDP is only on the new iOS, and there are badly not all iOS outside in the internet that can handle UDP. I have a lot of ideas, no time to do this. I've talked with some other guys in the United States. After some years we have to think, maybe we can create a new BGP daemon. That we stop the currently running daemon on this router and create a new one that do what we like to do today. It has to do. Or other internet services. There is currently a TCL web server available. There's a chat server available. You can have a chat server on an internet router. Sometimes funny. You can create bot clients. Very easy, you can create bot clients. If some event is happening, the router does something bad. I will show you after this with a short demonstration, and one packet is enough to create to start a DDoS attack or another element. Self-distribution code, all about SNMP, SIP, or war dial, all this stuff I can now create and running on the router. Also, a very interesting project is sending mail from the router. And here I have a configuration. I have an administrator here, a router, some targets, SMTP server. I have a TFTP server, web server, FTP server. This guy starts on this router. A tickle command that program comes from here with information from the emails addresses that are on the web server present, and the text maybe is coming from an FTP server. You start the script here with all this information from here, and the script starts to send out mails to all the mail server. On this router, you see only that is executed one command line. All other information, all other scripts are distributed over different servers. If this router reboots, there is nothing here that you can find. Only maybe some log entries that somebody has logged in, executed this script. And I have seen also already one of this implementation in the wild. And because there are large connections here to the internet, you can send a lot of spams out. Here's the code snippet from the code that I found. It's really easy. They also, it's like a script. They put some information out and become answer, SMTP, like that's written in the RFC. Here, this was my testing environment. I've created some Cisco router bot clients. I sent here out some packages that they are here dropped in access lists or create some events, and then they start to DDoS a target. All this run on iOS. And IPv6, all this stuff works also for IPv6. I'm currently testing this in my environment, and most of this works because all this implementation of commands in TCL commands in iOS have an option that says, okay, if you want to create open UDP ports, only put the IPv6 option and it's working. But also I found some restrictions in IPv6 that I cannot send packages specified multi-link local address or multicast address. But this is not a mistake or an error. It is normally not allowed to do this. Other that we have a lot of new ports in this, I think not this small router down here, but the large routers, Cisco 6500 or bigger, there are ports included in this that have running Linux on it. There are ways to go to the Linux shell. And then you have a normal Linux running kernel version of whatever, and you have root access to this kernel. You can do on these devices mostly what you want. We have local ends that are running Linux. We have a network analyzer module. Yeah, it's crashed more than one time because I tried some things. There are other ways to misuse the router. This is also, the next slide, is a very common technique now that we found more and more in the internet to hide the, the sender of the spam or attacks. Because they try to hide their IP address behind the net that they create somewhere in the internet. It works like this. We have some targets, we have some routers, we have bad boy down there. They build a GRE tunnel or other tunnel from his client to some router he has owned. He creates a net, and then he makes sure that all the traffic to the target, it goes to the tunnel. Here we create a route that says, okay, if I will attack this device, it goes not directly to the internet, but it has to go to the tunnel. Here it's hide behind the net address, and then it's attacking. And all the targets see only this net address. That I've seen more than one time in the last few weeks, because, this device has a lot of bandwidth, and the people call, hey, we are taking from this device, and this takes a long time to find the people out that That's not from the router. Maybe he's here connected to another company. Most people think, yeah, the traffic comes from the company, not from the router. But the guys are not so very good because they have made some problems or generate some problems because the DNS server has only created TCP traffic to the tunnel. UDP traffic is going directly to here. And we found then here, we found our entries, and we can correlate that this DNS request that this guy has done to this GRE tunnel, and we found this guy. Bad for him because, yeah, first we have seen a lot of DNS requests coming from him, and then we see, okay, there must be, maybe it's this IP address, this source IP address involved in this case, and yeah, it was. Yeah. The next step, we are attacking other devices. Maybe we want to attack the operators for become more access, more devices to, yeah. That was a really bad bug because maybe the administrator goes over the web interface to the router. That's not the normally Cisco administrators don't do this, but there are a lot of poor Windows users or administrators that have some routers outside, they go over the web interface. Here I try to change the host name to a script. I say, okay, host name is now script alert hello Cisco /script. If the guy goes online on the browser, I will show you what is seen. But if I configure this, the iOS says me, hey, this is an illegal character inside. What? You do this? Yeah, he knows that this is bad code, but he has not changed. Works only in older iOS. I have talked about this problem with some Cisco engineers. Some releases later it was fixed. Here, if you connect to this router, on the web interface, on the web server that's running on the device, you can see pop-up is coming up. And this is a good code, maybe you can insert more or longer code or bad code. There are other ways to hide info, to hide the HTML text or SQL injection code in the configuration. Because some companies has scripts, they collect all this router configuration and store it in a database. Depends on what they are doing. Yeah. Maybe they have a configuration, change management and verifying. Then you can attack over these commands, maybe the database. They are maybe, you can write information, HTML commands or SQL injection code in the description or in the syslogs. It's very well used in other exploits that you create syslog entries with HTML code. And there are some parsers that will do whatever they do with HTML code. They create or display this if you watch the logs. Usernames, you can also make HTML tagged. And the main problem for all this stuff is that devices become more and more and more features. And most of this feature nobody uses. I think, I don't know how many Cisco devices are out there, but I think only some 100 guys are using typical scripting on this device. So it's available. And also the bad guys think these devices are good to hide all my bad activity jobs that I will do. Because there is no way that you can find something. There is no AD that you can install on the router. You have to do all this work. All administrators have to do this work to watch configuration, watch the iOS. Is this the real iOS that's running? Is this maybe a rootkit of the router? And also forensic part is very hard to do. Sometimes you turn off the router, all information are lost. There are solutions, log files, but I have also found ways that can change and make some configuration on the router, that every log file entry that is generated, they go to a script, There I can parse some information out or in, and then after this it goes to the syslog server. Sometimes very useful, you can hide some information that are going on the router that is not available on the syslog server. But before the manipulation, first there are entries that, if you have logging enabled, that you can see that something going on the router. Then I say, watch your traffic. It's very hard. And configuration. I see these companies, they have deployed hundreds of configuration devices. There is no revision control. There is no way that you can say, okay, before 2 weeks you have this configuration, and now it has changed, because some routers or devices are running 1 year. Nobody will watch on this device because it's running. Also iOS, they see, okay, I've downloaded iOS, I put it on the router, it works. Maybe that's can change in the iOS some things. There are rootkits. There are guys that are building rootkits for iOS. But it's very hard to build, but there's possible ways. Yeah, and build forensic knowledge for network devices, all kinds of network devices. It's very hard to do forensic if something is happening. Yeah, short demonstration. I have here 2 small routers because the larger one, yeah, doesn't fit in my package. Yeah, notebook, evil router and the target. So for this demonstration, I only did before. Addresses. So. Target router, I start first. Yeah. I have created a short access list that I only display ISMP packets because I want to see all the traffic. And on the evil router, there are some configurations done, and if the administrators comes in the morning, he starts up his workplace. I can emulate this with this button. Wait a second. Okay. Now how it works? Yeah. Turn on. So, okay, it comes again. Here you see the interface coming up. There are generations of events. And here you see we receive a lot of ICMP packages on the target route. That's done with some embedded event manager lines. If port is coming up, I start a script. The DDoS attack starts. And in the evening, if the guy goes home, the DDoS attack stops. Or you can reverse this. The DDoS attack is running if the administrator is not online, and he started his computer, it will stop the DDoS attack, and then it even goes home, it restarts. Also, you can create some funny scripts. Here, I have a script that creates the numbers for the Swiss lottery for this evening. And yeah, it's not very useful, but there are other tinkle games available that you can play on the road directly. If you have nothing to do during the work, you can play with your... Yeah. The bad thing is I've forgotten the tic-tac-toe script that's running on the device. Yeah. you can play tic-tac-toe with your router. It's very funny. But there are other ways that you can manipulate. If you own a router, you can integrate a small script backdoor. And of course, they'll make SNMP. There are some scripts. If I take the wrong community, then try to get the information from the other device, this is on the evil router, there's no information coming back from the target router. But if I use a normal community that's widely deployed in the internet, you see what's happening. I receive the information from the other router. And yeah, this is only one IP. I can create some for next loop around these scripts. I can create some script that take a list of communities and have a perfect SNMP scanner for the internet. Also, I'm starting to create rootkits to hide some information. I have, you can see here, I have the iOS operating system that's running on this device. It's here. Cisco says if you upload iOS, you have to verify the MD5 hash. There was a command line, yeah. Then it creates the hash of all this stuff file to say, yeah, it's okay, you can verify the number. This is an include command in the iOS. And a few seconds later, because it's large. Come on. Okay. Yeah, I have to take the wrong script. That's what normally happens. This is the, you can see the MD5 hash. Now, I can execute this. Yeah. I can execute the same command line, and it gives me a complete other MD5 hash. Because I have changed the alias of the command line. And I had a friend of me in the United States, he had created an alias that he will replace the show command. That every time you write show, it goes first to a parser that create or hide all your configuration out from the running configuration, and it should display only dot the bad guy will want to show you. And then you can also hide this alias command in the router. There are a lot of people working on this because they found out routers are good devices in the internet. And for me, it's very important that they have a tool like Netcat on the router or all these devices. Then I have written one version. Here there are the arguments that you can do. I can listen on the port, can execute commands, can load and download files. And if I start this on this device, now it's running on this device. And I can now connect from the other device around the world. To this port. And I can see what's going on the other. Here's display me the information from the other router. That because I have Netcat, that we know it's running on many of Linux system or Windows system. It's the same function. And we have talked about rootkits on iOS. I can show you something. I have also a dynamics environment. But it's, on the small computer it's very hard to run. I can start the virtual router. You see the boot messages that's coming from the iOS, and I think that they are not the regular one. And also you can install all the commands, you can manipulate this. It's a lot of work, you need a lot of experience in EDA Pro and all this reverse engineering stuff, but it's possible. And people do this on the internet. Yeah, it will start a little bit later. And if I implement my iOS, install the rootkit with makes the right MD5 hash, all this stuff, nobody will find it. I think devices, network devices, layer 2 and 3 devices are a very good place for bad guys to store information, doing attacks to other devices, to hide their activation on the internet. And yeah, most of the administrators are not aware of this. It's a hard job to find, to secure routers, devices, network environments, because I notice I do this every day. And yeah, there are also not very good tools available to find this stuff. And I know, I think the Symantec will not create antivirus for iOS because, for days maybe too small. Only things you can do is educate your manager, network manager, admins, all these guys that are working with these devices to find that they become a relation, what's going on devices, how I can protect these devices from, and how I can find if somebody other is on my devices. I have done a lot of research with these devices. I have, I think, more than probably 5,000 or 6,000 configurations from routers in the internet, and most of them that I found are bad or really bad configuration mistakes. I also found configurations from large core routers because they are bugs, they are not correctly configured, or you can exploit these devices with malfunction packets. And there's a lot of work to do, and for me, next scripts, I will build more scripts for monitoring to show that you can do bad things. I also build, I do currently a lot of forensics on these devices. And also I monitor all these new features that they come from Cisco and of course other router builders like Juniper and all this stuff. and I do a lot of more fancy stuff for that. And yeah, if you have some questions, I will answer you.
So, you're the Cisco rootkit, you can actually talk pretty much about that.
Yeah.
So I wanted you to provide some more details, like how does it actually operate? So it's like, what does it actually hide? Like, what's the nature of the, I mean, what are you attempting to do?
I think the problem is that you can only, there are two ways that you can change the iOS. First, you have normal access, or you can exploit and upload others. And I see if you can exploit and create a new iOS, there are some ways that you manipulate maybe the login process or program that you say, okay, if whatever you type is correct, then you have a normal login. Yeah, it doesn't matter what your password you send, it's fine. I see some guy has to write this, and it works on one iOS. The problem is that also with Cisco devices you have a lot of different hardware, a lot of different iOS images, and all this, for each rootkit or replacement of iOS, you have to do this whole work, or mostly the same whole work, to find all these right program code lines. You have to put the code in either reverse engineer to fit in all this memory stuff, then you can manipulate the commands, or maybe you can build in backdoors. Yeah, the most thing is to include backdoors, or that you are not visible for other guys. I think that's the first target, because it's a hard way, but it's other stuff. If you want to manipulate the BGP sessions or all this stuff, it's very hard to reverse engineer, because there are a lot of large images you have to reverse engineer, and because in older iOS you have seen before, there was one big file that all the stuff is inside. And if you have to reverse engineer 200 megabytes, it's a lot of work. But if you do more and more in this stuff, you've also been find sometimes the same code in different iOS. But there are not many people. I don't remember his name. Before 2 years, he have started with this also to reverse engineer the iOS. But he has stopped, and other people have started on this place. He has stopped. I don't know can't remember his name.
FX is the instance, FX from
No, it's not FX, it's
Michael.
no, it's maybe just some moons, like something like that. Felix Linder has built a system against the manipulating the iOS, because he builds a database with the iOS MD5 hash, and you can send him the iOS that you found on the router, and he will say, okay, this is a good iOS or it's a bad iOS. But it's very hard, because you have to download all these iOS images from Cisco. Maybe I think that he is doing is a part for Cisco that must do it for you.
Question. Thank you.